Chris Roberts infamously declared that 2025 would be Star Citizen's year of playability, and then he and the team kinda delivered on that. Was it perfect? Well, of course not, this is Star Citizen. The resource drive was a disaster, and a lot of that came down to the same busted infrastructure that's been haunting this game forever. We have elevators that eat people. Trams and Microtech can decide they have better things to do while leaving the tracks entirely, and cargo can disappear when you store it because the systems responsible for moving things from point A to point B have never ever worked reliably. But all of that is about to change. Here we are in 2026, and I think this might be shaping up to be the year of the rework, where longtime Tier 0 systems start to get the polish they desperately need. And the rework I want to talk about today is the one that every single Star Citizen player has been waiting for since 2.0 launched all those years ago. The devs threw out the entire transit system and started over from scratch. I'm talking about elevators, I'm talking about the actual trams, I'm talking about all of it. The new system went to the tech preview for Evocati, and I spent last night testing it. Due to the NDA, I can't show you footage from the build, but I can tell you how it felt and what went wrong in absolutely hilarious ways. I'd argue this is the most important system in the game because transit is the connective tissue of everything. You literally can't do anything in the game without interacting with some part of it. Think about it. Leaving your hab or hangar, spawning your ship, moving through the station, you're touching transit constantly, and when that breaks, your character is trapped and your night is ruined. The elevator and tram bugs have been long-running memes because they're that impactful to the experience. Their new system is called Transport with capital T, and it's a ground-up replacement for the old system. I assume at some point they'll rename it to Star Transport or maybe Star Transist, because that's how they do things around here. We just got Star Pause, which is their internal system for adding alien life into the game. In case you're wondering why they're doing this, the old system was no longer viable for Star Citizen. It couldn't keep up with the server meshing or instancing demands anymore. Transport was built with all of that in future development in mind. And the thing is that there's so much tech debt in this game, it's nice to see refactors like this that are starting to address the core issues. It's a long-term win. For the first edition, they've rebuilt a handful of locations, so Area 18 is fully converted, everything from the passenger elevators to the trams were running on the new code. Grim Hex has its central physical elevators and hangars converted. Horizon has hangar elevators on the new system, and New Babbage has its hangar elevators running it too. Everything else in the game is still running on the old transit system, so if you get into this test, you can feel the differences side by side. They've said they might open it up for Wave 1 this weekend, so you can try it as well. They need the stress test data. Now, the cargo and vehicle elevators are not a part of this testing phase yet. This test is about validating the core loop, getting from your hab to your ship and back reliably before they expand to cargo and vehicle spawning. If the foundation works though, vehicle elevators on this system should follow, and that would be a massive quality of life change. We've been teased bringing vehicles up from cargo elevators since they went live, and not having to store your ship would be freaking huge. For a first test, it had a lot of issues, but also a lot of promise. I had to backspace and respawn my character initially to get the elevators to interact with me at all. That's the kind of thing that you expect from an Evocati build, and once I got past that, all of the terminal interactions worked. The elevators responded, and the doors opened to actual floors instead of the void, which honestly felt like a minor miracle. I spent about an hour going to every elevator I could find in Area 18, summoning elevators, riding them, and I never got a missing elevator or any other kind of weird issues. They made the Area 18 trams faster, and I actually timed it and compared it to live data from 4.7. The Plaza to Spaceport run at Area 18 was about 5 seconds quicker than before, with the pathing being smoother and noticeably faster overall. Going the other direction, the Spaceport back to the Plaza was about 15 seconds faster. And that adds up when you're making those trips multiple times per session, and anyone who's played this game knows Star Citizen has plenty of time sinks and everything, so saving a few seconds here and there is really nice. Now, the speed increase came with a side effect that I wasn't expecting. You sat on the tram during the ride, you took G-force damage. I blacked out on my first trip, and most people straight up died. I think the game is applying the same G-force physics it uses in ships in space to the tram acceleration, which kind of makes sense engineering-wise, but obviously that needs to be fixed. I don't think CIG designed the Area 18 Metro to be lethal, but here we are. I think that's peak Star Citizen right there. Players in chat noticed that if you pack the tram absolutely full of players, people would fall through the floor and get pushed outside the tram. Again, that's hilarious, but that's why we test to find those edge cases. The most I had in my tram were 8 people, and it seems to run fine at that level. Now, despite the issues, there were some really thoughtful design decisions baked into the new system. Elevators now have a destination queue where each player inside can select a floor, and the system queues them first come, first serve. If you change your selection, you get bumped down in priority without screwing up anyone else's destination. If someone disconnects from the server mid-ride, the elevator handles their queued stop gracefully instead of getting confused and sending everyone to the lobby or getting into a bug state like it could on live. Dealing with those type of edge cases is exactly what the old system was missing, so it's nice to see it being addressed here. The hangar elevator panels are now local and unique to each player. You see your own instance destinations and any shared ones, and your personal hangar shows up at the top of the list instead of buried at the bottom. Thank God, I've wanted this for years. Scrolling past all those hangars just to find yours sucks. There's also a hold doors button now, which extends how long they can stay open. If you've ever sprinted towards a closing elevator in this game and watched it leave without you, that's what this is for. You can't hold it indefinitely like people do in real life, but if you're herding cats in a group in the ASD facility and there's that one guy that just doesn't get in the elevator, this is a really nice feature. So the bottom line is that the void doors should be a thing in the past. In my headcanon, I would call them the elevators of doom. They were kind of the checkered block textures you'd see in engine level testing when an elevator door opened and nothing was there, just an empty shaft. Kind of freaky. CIG said that with the new system, the door will not open until the carriage is ready on the other side, and if something goes wrong, the door stays closed instead of opening to nothing. Anyway, our testers in my group were able to get a few void states to appear, so hopefully that will narrow down the issues prior to live. But not everything was ready for the test. The UI is bare bones, it's a placeholder for now, and it looks much different than we're used to. They're planning to show categories of locations instead of one scrolling list, display the destination queue so you know where the elevator's going next, and communicate delays to players so you're not standing there wondering if it's coming or broken, which has been a major problem for a long time. They also plan to add audio announcements to the elevator and trams, and that's a win to me, but it's not in yet. Something that's always bugged me about Star Citizen is there's no traditional MMO maintenance cycle. These servers can run for months sometimes without a restart. When transit breaks on a server that's been up for weeks and there's nothing anyone can do about it until the server comes back down, that really sucks. The self-repair system, when it gets added, is supposed to solve that. The transit network will detect when something's wrong and reset itself without waiting for a full server restart. For a game that never goes down on maintenance, that's essential. It's also not in yet, so they can find all the bugs on this test instead of just constantly resetting itself. Listen guys, I still believe that the resource drive was a stress test whether CIG admits it or not, and the result of that test helped lead us to this new system. I bet they expected it to go better than it did, but everything we do serves some purpose for testing new features. Think about how much of that event's frustration came from fighting the transit infrastructure instead of playing the actual content. If transport had been live for the resource drive, it's a completely different experience and probably a much better reception from the community. The elevator boss that's been a part of Star Citizen's identity for years and years is looking like it finally might be tamed after tonight. Hopefully CIG can triage the trams before they take its place though. Listen, I realize these types of reworks are the least exciting part of game development for the players. We all want big, awesome new features, but after spending tonight writing elevators in Area 18, getting that right is going to make all the difference. The next big sweeping rework that they've teased are the social tools. I've been waiting for those since CitizenCon years ago, and it'll allow me to have the guild up and running. I'll probably catch some flack from saying this, but I believe that Star Citizen is getting dangerously close to being a game that's consistently fun to play. I've been here for 10 years, and there's always been that feeling of waiting for some upcoming feature before I really dive into the game, but I don't feel like that anymore since 4.7. I've been mining for resources and dipping into crafting. I've busted out my spreadsheets to track my resource progress, and that makes me want to log in even more. I'm re-energized to play and cover the game, so get subscribed for more. I really appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.